Hi guys, this is my first ever knife video showing off my knives that I've collected collected over the years, some 20 odd years. Spent a lot of money on them and look after them really well. So needing a bigger table, as you can obviously see, but I'll try and do it as best as I can. Have a wee look at them, tell you individually what they all are and what I think of them. So we'll start with the folders. Two Cold Steel Recon 1s. I've actually got two there because they sent me two by mistake, which is good for me, bad for them. There's a Cold Steel Micro Recon 1, which is also very good. A Cold Steel Tie-Lite, a Cold Steel Voyager. That's all my Cold Steel folders. So we'll move down onto the Spyderco. We have the Spyderco Harpy, the Spyderco Delica with the Emerson Wave for one-handed opening out your pocket, the Spyderco Polywog, one of the wee smaller Spyderco knives. I can't remember the name of it, but I've put a 10p piece next to it for just about a size comparison. We're moving on to some knives here which are actually legal to carry in the UK, but even though they are legal I still wouldn't recommend doing it. So we've got some knives here. This is a Schrade Imperial at the top, this one here, a small Opinel, and a CRKT Liang Ma. Back onto this, we've got, excuse the cough, we've got a bit of cough just now. We're on to the Mora knives, which for value for money in my opinion represent some of the best knives that you can buy for fishing, general bushcraft, and let us say for the money that they cost, I reckon for a price that it can't be beat. Come in both carbon steel and stainless steel, so depending on what you're using it for. Let me see. We've got a small Puko there that's for Lapland. It's got some wee reindeer there. Funnily enough, it was a Christmas present, so quite fitting. Some of the larger fixed blade knives we have. We've got a Cold Steel Warhead here, which is also a paracord wrapped handle which can be removed to lash it to a stick or a pole or to make it into a spear if that's what you want. There's a Cold Steel Trailmaster Bowie here, which is a very big knife, and as with all Cold Steel knives, folders and fixed blades comes out the box totally razor sharp. We have a Cold Steel Recon Scout here, which is basically a smaller version of the Trailmaster. Same handle, same steel, just a different sheath, bit of Securix sheath going on there. So we move on again, and we've got a double-edged dagger, which is a Cold Steel Peacekeeper 1. I've had that for a wee while as well, and also managed to get a hold of a Cold Steel Taipan, which has got to be one of the most awesome knives I've ever seen. Triple Sanmai 3 steel, triple laminated. And Sanmai 3 means the harder steel, the VG1 in the middle, and the softer steel on the outside edges. An amazing knife, comes totally sharp, quite expensive, but I sourced it from America, so got quite a good deal. Again, further along, that's Taipan here. So moving along, we've got the Cold Steel Master Hunter, and we've got the Cold Steel Pendleton Hunter. The Pendleton Hunter is one of my favourite knives for camping and bushcraft. It's a very sturdy blade, also comes razor sharp, it's very easily to sharpen and has a fantastic sheath. So moving along, we've got the Cold Steel Outdoorsman, which is also a fantastic knife, very good. Very well built, as with all Cold Steel knives. No flaws or imperfections on any Cold Steel knives I've ever had. All been totally sharp and totally awesome. We move on to a couple of neck knives now. We've got the Cold Steel Bowie Spike, and we've got the Cold Steel Tokyo Spike, I believe, if I remember right. And then we've just got some True Flight throwers. For a throwing knife, I'm not really sure if they should be as sharp as that, because I actually cut my fingers the first couple of times I was throwing them, so maybe taking a file or the edge would be handy if you want to use them for throwing, and that's just a wee cheapo that I got some years ago. Moving on further up, we've got some machetes here. We've got the old Martindale Crocodile number 2, which I use for camping some bushcraft activities, which are 25 quid. It doesn't really matter if you bash it up, but it still gets filed and oiled and whatever else. So to dress the handle up a wee bit, because the rivets were poking out and whatever else, making it a bit uncomfortable to hold, but that doesn't take long, you can do that. And there's a Cold Steel Bolo machete also. That actually comes with a black blade, but buffed that off and made it sort of a shinier finish, but it's just aesthetic, it doesn't hold any use or whatever. So here we go. Here's some Condor machetes. There's a Condor Golock. Front heavy blade for easy easy chopping. Excuse the cough, boys. And there's also another Condor one there. I can't remember the exact name yet. So moving further along, we come back here to some Tanto style blades. We've got the Cold Steel Koban, and we've got a Tanto there that I actually sourced. I bought it years ago. I'm sure it was about £16. It wasn't relatively expensive, but it was one of the first knives I ever bought, and it was one of the first knives that got me into actually collecting knives. Moving on, here's a small Bowie knife with a curved edge. Sort of, I believe it's a scimitar type blade that's made by a company, Tramontina. It was also very sharp when I bought it. It was also cheap, and one of the first knives I ever bought. And moving on to the right, the knives that most people will probably recognise is the Rambo series of knives. Excuse. This is the knife for Rambo 3, and it's made by a company called Gil Hibben, or the United Cutlery, but Gil Hibben's the designer. So that would be the Rambo 3 knife, and that would be Rambo 2. That was also one of my favourite knives. And then moving on to the First Blood, Rambo 1. So moving on now, we've got some SOG knives here, and this is a SOG knife called the Jungle Primitive. It's a very big knife with a sawback edge. Kinda, I wouldn't say it was pretty much useless, but I've never used it because the blades, I don't know, it's more smart than anything else. So moving on here, we've got the SOG, the Dagger 2, which is also a very good knife with a non-reflective blade if you're a commando or whatever else, or anti-reflective coating, whatever you want to call it. We're moving on here, we've got the SOG Seal Pup Elite, which is a smaller one, the Navy Seal knife type knife SOG. It's very good. It's got a sheath that you can put either a small multi-tool in, or a sharpening stone, or whatever you want to put in it. There's a SOG Trident 2, which is a fixed blade Bowie, which comes for the Vietnam with the Studies and Observations group. All SOG Bowies are very high quality, they're very well made, and they come with very, very sharp blades, and the leather sheaths are quite a high quality as well, so they're quite good. So we're moving on again. This has got a Securex or a Kydex sheath. This is a SOG Tech Bowie with a black titanium nitride coating. So that's also a very good knife, and it's a very good finish to the blade, and it's got a very good a rubber handle, so if it gets wet or whatever else, it's quite good. And we're moving on to other types of knives now. This is a SOG Northwest Ranger, a very good bushcraft knife, and I bought this purely on the reviews I was seeing for it for some other people on YouTube collecting knives and use and whatever else. A very good knife. I got this made. It's 01 Tool Steel. It's a handmade bushcraft knife by a knife maker in England. Very good knife, very good shape, very sharp. 01 Tool Steel, and it's a Woodlore clone, you could say. It's got the curly birch handle, the red liners, and mosaic pins. Let's see if it was going to that there. It's a very good knife, it's very sharp, and if I'm out doing bushcraft or whatever else, that's sort of my knife of choice. A bit of a copy, you Mr. Mears kind of thing. But very good, very well made. So once again, I could just go at it. So we've got the handmade bushcrafter, the SOG Northwest Ranger, the SOG Tech Bowie, the SOG Trident 2, the SOG Seal Pup Elite, the Dagger 2, the SOG Jungle Primitive, Rambo 1, Rambo 2 and Rambo 3. So moving back round here again, folding knives. We have the Cold Steel Recon 1, an amazing knife. This is a Tanto style blade, partially serrated. A very good knife. It's quite a heavy knife, but it feels very robust and well made. So in my opinion, if you're after a good locking folder, then you can't do better than the Cold Steel Recon 1. It's one of my favourite knives that I own. And again, the mini one, the Cold Steel Tie-Light, which is kind of stiletto type pointy blade. It's only a single edge, it's not a double edge blade. Again, moving into Cold Steel, we've actually got the Cold Steel Medium Voyager. This, in my opinion also, this is a very, very good knife. Would be a good utility knife if you're away camping or whatever else. It's very good, it's very sharp, and it's very strong. If you look at any Cold Steel videos online, they'll tell you all about these knives. There's lots of references, so I'm not going to go into sizes or anything, as I can't recall. We've got the Spyderco Harpy with the Hawkbill blade. I also like that one, partially due to the styling. It's very good. I believe it was actually used for cutting fishing nets. That's its initial design. But there's a couple of knives with the same sort of Hawkbill blade. The Spyderco Matriarch and the Spyderco Civilian, which I hope to maybe, well, possibly get in the future, but I'm not sure yet. And again, we've got the Spyderco Delica Wave with the Emerson Wave. You can snag that on the corner of your pocket for your one-handed opening, if that's your thing. Spyderco Polywog here. This is one of the original ones that was made out of stainless steel. I believe this knife is discontinued now, and the ones after that I believe had a G10 handle, a textured G10 handle, which is different obviously. And again, we've got the small Spyderco. Moving back down, the three knives in the shot just now are all UK legal carry, but like I say, I wouldn't recommend carrying any knife in your pocket for day to day or for any use whatsoever. There's a lot of people just don't realise how dangerous they are, so if you're thinking about carrying a knife, don't do it, it's not worth it. This one here, the CRKT, the bottom one, the Liongma number 5. This is a very good knife, it's very well made. It's a slip joint, one-handed opening, non-locking blade, as are these three ones, but like I say, all legal UK carry, but I wouldn't recommend it. Down again, Mora knives at the top. We've got the Mora Robust. In the middle we've got the Mora 512, and in the bottom we've got another Mora, but I can't remember the name of that one. I'm sure somebody will tell me. Down again we've got a wee Puko, which is a very good knife. It's quite a short blade, but I believe all Pukos are short blades, and it's well made with a curly birch handle and very nice. So moving up this way, we've got the Cold Steel Warhead. That's a very big double-edged knife. It's like a tip of a spear, you could say, and obviously it's got the indents just above the handle for the rattle or lashing to a pole or a stick or whatever, for if you want to make it into a spear. Again, sorry about the cough. Cold Steel Trailmaster Bowie. That is actually it's a huge knife. If I can't remember the size of it, but it's massive. It's very well made. It's very thick. It's 8mm or 5/16 of an inch thick on the spine of the blade. It's got I believe it's a clip point, and it's awesomely sharp. Awesomely sharp. One of the sharpest knives in the collection, as with all Cold Steel knives. Very good. And again, Recon Scout, which is also a very good knife. If you're outside a lot in bad weather, then I'll say maybe the Recon Scout would be the one to go for, due to the different type of sheath, as the water or the weather or whatever wouldn't affect it. Again, back down to a Peacekeeper 1, and the Cold Steel Taipan, obviously named after the snake, so I wouldn't like a bite off either. But the finish of the Taipan, this video will probably not be doing it much good, but when you actually see it and realise how sharp it is, and it was developed by Lynn C. Thompson, the president of Cold Steel, as a fighting knife for if you want to do that kind of thing. But like I say, it's an awesome knife, and I would highly recommend buying it if you can part with the money. So it's well worth it. I believe if you buy it here it's about £350 to £400, but I actually got this one imported from America, so it was a good bit cheaper. And sometimes you'll find that with a lot of the knives, especially some of the Cold Steel ones, if you actually do import them from America, sometimes the customs charges offset the price, so you've just got to watch. But in my experience, sometimes it's been worth it for what you buy. You've just got to shop about. Again, Cold Steel Master Hunter, which is also a very good camp and bushcraft knife. One of my favourites, the Pendleton Hunter, which is also a very good knife, and one of my knives that I take out if I go fishing or camping or whatever else. The Cold Steel Outdoorsman, a very good knife. Again, that was one of the first knives that I ever bought. The bone breaker on the back of the spine of the blade, and it is also very, very sharp. The Cold Steel Bowie Spike, which is also a very good knife. And the Cold Steel, oh, sorry about this, I believe it's a Tokyo Spike, also very good knives. All neck knives, But obviously again in this country you wouldn't use them, or you wouldn't carry them, or you wouldn't take them outside, as you can get a hefty fine and you're more likely end up in the jail, so it isn't worth it. Nice to look at, but that's all they'll ever be used for. Cold Steel True Flight throwers again. Again, quite a heavy knife. It's got some heft to it and good for throwing. But if you want to just use it for its throwing purpose, then I would recommend maybe you dull the blade down, or you're going to end up with no fingers, because it is very, very sharp. So again, moving on, Cold Steel Bolo Machete, Condor Machete, another Condor Machete, and the old Martindale No. 2 Crocodile. So I'll just quickly move back round here. Rambo 3, Rambo 2, Rambo 1, SOG, and some other SOG ones that I've already showed you. Like I say, this is my first video, so I look forward to the comments and see what you think of my collection. It's ongoing and I've been collecting for a long while, so I'll just stand back up on the chair just to give you a final shot of everything in the collection. I've got sorry, I've got some other stuff. I've got some axes and swords and whatever else. If you like the video, then I can make another one with the swords. I've got some Paul Chen swords and some Gransfors Brooks axes that I can also make a video on and show you if you want to see them. So thanks for watching and taking the time, and I appreciate everybody that makes videos for YouTube, because it gives everybody a chance to see what everybody else has got. So thanks for watching. Cheers.